Hi guys, welcome back to the Mission Empowered podcast with me, your host Emily, and a frog in my throat apparently. Hope you're having a great day and hopefully it is about to get a little bit better. Before we go into this week's episode all about the importance of water, I know, nearly as exciting as fibre, but the great thing is the fibre podcast was an absolute hit and I thought people were going to think, oh, this is quite boring. So if that was a hit, the water one's going to be even better. Ooh, pressure. Before we do that though, we are just going to address the elephant in the room of my hairband if you're watching on camera or if you're not and you just want to have a little glance now. So I've got this hairband in because, I'm having a facial tomorrow, so I didn't want to wash my hair because then it gets all oils in. And I haven't worn a hairband probably for about 25 years. And I was like, oh my God, is it ears under or ears over? So yeah, if you see me touching it and messing about with it, that is what I'm doing. Okay, so let me know. Ears over, ears under. Hopefully no one is watching this like it's ears under because we're going for ears over. I just wanted to start with that. So yeah, hope you're all good. Let's get into it then. So this week's episode is all about the importance of water. We're going to drop some little facts in about water, and then we're going to talk about the health benefits of why we get drilled drinking water down our throats. But also, as always, I am going to relate it to fat loss as well, because the biggest thing that I think with water, when I talk about fat loss healthy habits, I'm like, okay, yeah, steps sometimes can seem like a little bit of a ball ache, tracking your food, sometimes a little bit of a hassle. But water, it's sort of like no excuses. If you're not drinking water, it is just a bit lazy. Like, let's call it for what it is, girls, okay? So we need to understand why is water so important. So the first thing is understanding that we are made of literally half water. About 55 to 60% of our body is made from water, okay? And if we want to be, optimally working as the best human possible, we need to be getting that water in, okay? We need to be keeping them water levels topped up. And it is it's really vital. Like I said, I'm going to go through, it's not just for fat loss. We don't ever want to do anything just purposely for fat loss. Like my clients who listen will know this. Let me just move this chair up, see if that's a bit better. My clients who listen will know this, is that a lot of the time we think we're doing things purposefully for fat loss, but actually we're doing it for longevity of life, feeling better in ourselves, mental health, and water is no different to that. So let's get into it with the why then. Why should we be drinking water? So what I'm going to do, girls, I'm going to do why we're drinking water for health and explain a little bit about that, why for fat loss, and then how. Because I think everyone needs to know the whys, but it's sometimes the how. How do I get 3 litres in? I've tried for ages, I can't do it. That's the problem. So I'm gonna help you out with that. So from the health point of view, the first thing that we need to understand about water is it helps regulate our body temperature. And how I describe this is, think of a radiator, okay? We put water in the radiator and, it heats that radiator up. But also it cools us down as well. So if you ever touch a radiator when the heating's not on and it's freezing because that water is freezing in there, and then you heat the water up and the radiator goes warm. Same with our bodies, okay? Is that when we are cold, our body will heat that water up, heat our hydration up and keep us warmer, okay? We also, obviously, when we're too hot, it will sweat and it will cool us down. So that's important. Now, I'm going to say something that I'm actually not going to, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm not going to back myself on. I have just come into my head and I wish I could pause and look at the facts of this, but I'm not. But I really, really think I've read this before, is that because our body temperature is regulated by water, if we are not 100% hydrated optimally, we can actually trigger for our bodies to store more body fat to keep us warm if we are constantly under hydration. Now, it makes sense. I really want to back myself and say I've definitely read that somewhere before, because otherwise why would that come to my head? But unfortunately I can't say I've read that for the purpose of this podcast. But it makes sense that if we are not drinking enough water and our body hasn't got enough water to keep us warm, what is another way of insulating our body is? It's through body fat, okay? So your body may signal to store more body fat to make sure that you are staying warm. Makes sense, right? I hate pulling myself down because I think I'm a clever girl, but I can't say that I've freaking read that recently. So everyone go and Google it, and I'll go Google it as well. Maybe I'll put it in the notes. I'll put it in the notes after I've recorded. Imagine if I put to the notes. Point 1, not fucking true. But I do think I've read that before, is that if we are constantly underhydrated, your body needs a way to keep us warm and keep that insulin, so it signals to store more body fat. That was random, wasn't it? Normally I'm full of 100% facts on this, but yeah, not today. Okay, so first one, yeah, body temperature. So we need it to heat us up, we need it to cool us down. It's very, very important. The next one then is lubrication, okay, in multiple ways. I think every time, if you're like me, every time you think you lube, you think of sexy time. But we're talking about lubrication of joints, lubrication of your digestive system. So if you think about, one of the real big things, positives of when people start to drink more water, they notice is that they start going to the toilet more. Okay, and we touched on this in the fiber podcast last week. But like when my Fit and Six girls or my clients are working with me on the off, within that first month, and we talk about how's your digestive system, they say, actually, do you know what, I've been going way more regularly. And it is a combination of eating more fiber, eating more protein. But eating fiber and eating protein is one part. Passing it through your digestive system is done by the lubrication of being hydrated. So a really huge thing, if you suffer with bloating, if you suffer with IBS or anything, that is like gut related, that you feel like you do, constipation, you feel like you don't go enough, hydration. If you suffer with loose bowels, this can be a sign of dehydration as well, because as I said, the very first point of hydration is our bodies are made up of 55 to 60% water. So if we are not, and that's us working optimally, so if we're not hydrated optimally, we're not working optimally, this is going to affect everything, including passing of poo. So gut issues, lubrication on our joints, being hydrated, optimally hydrated, can really help navigate around digestive issues. Not sure where I was going with that, but yeah, you get me. Okay, so we've done body temp, lubrication of joints, and digestive system. So yeah, it really does help with the digestive system. Okay, so next one is transport and nutrients. So again, it makes sense when we understand it. If our blood and our body is made up of 50% water, and our blood is what transports our nutrients, our energy into our muscles, it helps transport our hormones, all of this stuff. If we're not optimally hydrated, that function can't work optimally. So this is where, again, and this will make sense when we talk about the fat loss, but lacking in energy can be a sign of not that you're not eating enough, but that you're actually dehydrated, and your body can't transport them nutrients from the food into the places it needs to be because we're dehydrated. Okay, so hopefully right now you are realizing it isn't just drink water for the sake of drinking water. It's drink water because of the knock-on effect it has on everything. So before we go into fat loss, the last thing I want to touch on from a health point of view is how water also helps support like all our bodily organs, including our skin. Now, this one I'm going to talk about because I feel like for the ladies listening, we all want glowier skin, don't we? We all want like brighter skin. Do you want to know something absolutely that I said as a client, as a chat with my client last week, and it blew my mind. She was like, struggled to get a water intake in. This honestly fucking blew my mind. She struggles to get a water take in, and on a check-in she won't mind me sharing this. She put, because I asked my clients about self-care when they do check-in, like what have we done to look after ourselves? She was like, I've booked a course of hydrofacials. I feel like my skin is looking like, not dehydrated, I want to hydrate it. The previous 2 questions before, how much water have you drank? 1.5 litres. I'm sorry, what? So you've bought a course of hydrofacials that is probably setting you back, I've got no idea, 300 quid, but you can drink tap water for free and get, this glowing look for free. I'm sorry, what? Are you joking? And girls, I'm not even joking. That is literally how our check-in went. And she come back and she was like, oh God, okay, now I get it. Now I get it. So I think the reason when I do these podcasts and I explain the reasons why behind things, it doesn't matter if not everything hits into you, but if one point can just trigger you, and it might be the health, it might be that you've got achy bones, achy joints, and actually I'm dehydrated, maybe that helped. It might be that you suffer with bloatedness, not going to the toilet every day, that might be your trigger. Or it might be the skin thing, the hair, skin, nails, eyes, bright eyes are a sign of being hydrated. Yellowy, dull eyes, I think that's a sign of a severe disease, but not yellow eyes, but like dull eyes is a sign of dehydration. So hair, skin, nails, if we're optimally hydrated, are all going to benefit as well, okay? Ooh, guys, this is a fun fact for you. I had Profilo before my wedding, okay? And I didn't rate it. I didn't, for the price of it and what everyone was saying, I was like, I don't rate it. I didn't really notice this huge difference. But Profilo was like a hydration, like filler thing. What are they called? Face, I don't know. Needles in your face to make you more hydrated. And yeah, I was talking to my bestie who is a skin specialist, and she was like, you may not notice because you drink so much water and you're already like super hydrated, it's not going to do the same effect for someone who isn't, and then they have this whoosh. Same thing when I had a hydrofacial. It was lovely, but I didn't come away thinking, oh my god, like this is amazing, because I've always been super anal about drinking water. It's literally like giving yourself a free facial. So my girls who are skin conscious, I mean, anyone who's over 30, we are, right? So get the water in, 3 litres of water, 4 litres, 3 to 4 litres. We're going to talk about how we do that in a second. But yeah, so for water looks after our organs as well, but it's really going to help with our skin organ. Okay, let's talk about fat loss. Why we're drinking our water on cue. Okay, so the number one I'm going to go through on this, okay, is that your body, when it comes to fat loss, goes through a fat loss process, okay, called lipolysis, okay? That is your body's function where it breaks down fat, okay? Your body, to go through this function, needs water, okay? It needs water to take the fat molecules, break them down, use them as energy, needs water. So we're going to go back to the very start of the podcast where I said, if our bodies are not hydrated optimally, they are not functioning optimally. So if your body needs water to break down fat optimally and you're dehydrated, guess what it's not going to do? It's not going to go through that fat burning process optimally. It's not going to do it, because if it needs energy, it will do it, but it's not going to do it optimally, okay? Now, I think for a lot of people, that is the light bulb moment of, shit, okay, I want to drop body fat. I've been disregarding water because I don't know the importance of it when it comes to burning fat and losing weight. Okay, now, like that for me it's how simple. I am literally taking my glass, drinking my water, sitting on my arse, working, and I'm helping my body utilize body fat. Okay, that simple, which is why I say if you are not drinking your water and you're trying to lose weight, you are missing a trick, a really easy, simple trick. Okay, let me just make a note because I want to touch on that in a minute. Right, so that is the first one when it comes to fat loss. It's a fat loss. Your body needs water to break down fat. Drink your fucking water. Imagine, just ended there. So next one. Some studies have shown that it can help increase your metabolism. Now, we are not talking, a ridiculous amount of calories a day, but every little helps, right? And if it can increase your metabolism and you're looking to lose fat, why would you not do it? Every little helps, okay? The studies that have shown that do this is by having 500 ml of water in the morning. Now, I recommend to do this anyway, where am I? I'm going to talk about that in the how section. But when the studies that have shown people who had better weight loss because they were more hydrated started their day with 500 ml of water, which is is it about a pint 500 ml? I think it is, isn't it? Maybe just a little bit less. So yeah, 500 ml of water. This has been studies that show that it can help increase your metabolism. Now, there are definitely studies that show it helps make you feel more satisfied when we are hydrated. So, couple of things here. The first one is, if you think about water being in your tummy, it is going to fill up your tummy. Okay, if our tummy is completely empty, we're going to feel hungry and we're going to feel like we need something in it. Okay, so you've probably heard people say before, if you're hungry, have a glass of water, wait 20 minutes, and then see how you feel. So there is sort of like method behind that. Is it, are you dehydrated? Do you just need a little something in your tummy, or are you actually hungry? So if you are, this obviously I could dig deep into that, because that's a whole other, we're not saying if you're hungry, drink water, like, and that'll bypass you. Like, obviously if it's due for meal time, eat your meals. But I think I would take that and say, like, if you've had your breakfast at 9 o'clock and it's 10:30, well, we know that actually our tummies take around 3 hours to empty. So if we are 90 minutes in and we're feeling hungry, is that a sign that actually we're just dehydrated? Because a really important thing to remember is that when you are feeling the same, you get the same feelings as being hungry when you are dehydrated. Same feelings, okay? Same, oh, I want to eat something. But then you just have to check into yourself and think, actually, I haven't drank my water today. Maybe I'm just thirsty. Okay, so we have the same feelings for hunger and thirst. Well, sorry, yeah, hunger and dehydration. We're going to talk about thirst in a minute. So it's really important to make sure we're registering how much water we are having, or how much fluid we're having, because then that can help us in fat loss tell the difference between, do we need a snack or do we need a glass of water? Just to touch on thirst then, guys, I was meant to do this in the beginning, but I didn't. I always remember my mum, our little bairn, saying to me, because I always going on what my mum's had. I'm like, drink water. If you drank your water, you're doing your steps. Probably really annoying. But I just feel like water is such an easy thing and how impactful it is to do. And my mum was like, no, I'm not really thirsty. I only drink when I'm thirsty. So when we are thirsty, we are already 2% in the bad dehydration zone. Okay, when we get that thirst, we're already past being dehydrated. We're now 2% in it. You being thirsty is your body's way of saying, you fucking need water now. You need water now. We don't ever want to get to that point. We should drink water like a habit, not waiting till we're thirsty. Because when we're thirsty, I said before, like your hydration helps us with our body temperature, our lubrication, our digestive system, our energy levels, our cognitive function, all of that stuff water helps with, right? When we are 2% dehydrated, all of that stuff is starting to be affected. Okay, performance is starting to be affected. That's what we'll say, performance. Okay, performance in life is starting to be affected when you feel thirsty. So we don't ever really want to get to the point of thirsty. Okay, we always want to be on it, and we're going to get to that point in a second. So just to get back into fat loss then. We've covered fat burning process, metabolism, satiety, less snacking. So more energy, and this is how this relates to fat loss. If you think about what I said from the health, is that water helps transport nutrients around your body, okay? So if water helps transport nutrients around your body, that means it's going to be better at putting energy into our muscles ready to use, okay? Being hydrated also increases your cognitive function, your brain's switched on ability. So if we pair my brain switched on ability with transporting energy and put them together, what are you going to feel more? You're going to feel more motivated. You're going to feel more motivated to go on your walk and do your workout, which is then going to lead you to higher energy expenditure, or more muscle tone, or a better workout. So you're going to get better fat loss results. Okay, so a lot of the stuff, so although hydration helps with the actual fat loss process, it also helps with other things which will push along the fat loss process. So more energy, more motivation, more cognitive function comes from better hydration. Also better sleep. If we are not waking up in the middle of the night because our body's so thirsty because we need to drink more, what do we know that sleep provides? Sleep provides our biggest window of opportunity to optimally burn fat, recover, and build muscle. Everything that we want when it comes to fat loss. If we are breaking our sleep by getting up and having to have a drink, or waking up and feeling thirsty. We've all done that when you're hungover. We've all done this. You go to sleep, you wake up and you dream of orange juice, and you look on the side and there's nothing there, and you're like, oh, and then you go back to sleep and you dream of a Capri Sun because you want that fluid. You've all got to done this, I've done this. So that is breaking your sleep. That is breaking your body's optimal time of burning fat and building muscle, okay? So when we are more hydrated, we don't wake up, we have better quality sleep. That leads into the next day, feeling better, feeling more energy, balance of hormones, Bob's your uncle, better fat loss results, okay? So we've covered why hydration is important for health, why hydration is important for fat loss. I wonder if there's anything that I've missed. Covered satiety. Okay, let's go into the how then. So before we go into the how, we want to look at optimal, and we're going to keep this easy. I'm not going to give you an equation to go and work out, because there are equations out there that you can work out your body's optimal hydration, okay? If you're that interested, Google it. If you're not, let's just say 3 litres, okay? Because 3 litres is the standard of hydration we want to get in for the average person, maybe a little bit more, well, a little bit more if we're exercising, but 3 litres day to day, okay? Now, there is, when you look into like the research of it and where I got my information from for my qualification, they say 2 litres should come from fluid, and you roughly get 1 litre from water. Now, I think that is 1 litre from water if you are hitting your fruit and veg quota, because we know that fruit and veg is the majority of meat is made up of water. Okay, so if you are not eating a lot of fruit and veg, I tend to say to go to 3 litres anyway, because I think if you're having 3 litres of fluid, anything else is a bonus. The majority of people I recommend 3 litres to, they're working out. A lot of you guys listen to the podcast, you're working out, okay? So we need to be having more fluid if we're working out. So my opinion is go for 3 litres of fluid, and go for 3 litres of fluids, and anything else you get from food is a bonus, okay? I did listen to a podcast. We're going to talk about what classes as fluid, and God, the girl was really harsh on it. So what I like to do when I do these podcasts, guys, is I obviously have my information out with my clients, but I also like to do my own research and listen to like other podcasts and read articles just to see if I've missed anything, see if there's anything new out there that I can give to you. Sometimes I listen to some absolute bullshit, I'm not going to lie. And I listened probably for everything. It was like a 5-minute podcast of this girl, and she just made you sound like you wanted to live off tap water. And she was like, this doesn't count to it, and this doesn't count to it. And I was like, wow. So let's cover what counts as fluid intake. I personally, I'm like, still water, best one. Your body, not freezing cold, not boiling hot, room temperature water. Your body hasn't got to do a lot of work to cool it up, heat it down, and can just utilize it straight away. That for me is like, the best one. Then you've got sugar-free squash. So let's look at it like this. I have clients who say, I don't like the taste of tap water. Firstly, I would say get a filter, because if your tap water is tasting weird, I'd get a filter. So I have Brita. Should we just show you on camera? Maybe I'll get an ad from Brita. Maybe I'll get a free one. So I have one of these. I think there's like 2 litres in that, but I definitely fill that up at least twice a day. And then I also get through maybe 1 or 2 of these, because this is what I put my juice in. So I'll take this to the gym. So yeah, obviously you're probably thinking, that's more than 3 litres. So yeah, I drink more than 3 litres. I think I drink 5 litres. But I, have drunk water for ages. I've always been a big water drinker. Moving on, not about me. So tap water, I think, yeah, great. That's the best one. If you don't like tap water, get a filter. If you don't like filtered water, you can have a little bit of sugar-free squash, because if it's going to be, you're not getting any water in because you don't like the taste of it, or you get 3 litres with a bit of sugar-free squash in, get that. Like, make sure when you're doing your drink that your drink is see-through, and it's not like that thick, strong orange colour, or whatever colour you use. Make sure it's just, an opaque, no, not opaque, translucent. Oh, if I don't do the science lesson, see-through. Let's just go for see-through. See-through juice colour, and that. Okay, you've obviously got other things like squeezing lemon into it, putting mint leaves in it, putting fruit in it if you want to. Never really got them fruit things, water bottles, and they used to say squash fruit in it. and that doesn't really taste like fruit. The only thing I ever really like is like putting lemon and cucumber in it. If you are going to put a lemon in it, don't leave the whole lemon in the water because the acidity isn't very good for your teeth. But yeah, you can add little things to it. Then you have got things like tea and coffee and herbal teas. So what we have to remember here is you are still putting fluid into your body. Of course you are. It's predominantly water. But what you are pairing your water with is caffeine, okay? So we know that actually caffeine does dehydrate us, okay? It's a diuretic, so it makes us go for a wee or a poo. Passes through our system. So it's not having the optimal effect that we want it to, as is like tap water. Okay, so what we have to remember is that I personally, you can count these towards your fluids intake if you're really struggling. I personally don't. I just think it's so much easier to go off my water and my squash, because then you have also got things like Diet Coke, soda water, fizzy water. Okay, so they reckon fizzy water's the same. It's still hydrated, yeah. I am a bit like, I'm yet to find the research on this, so just take it as it is, fine. But I just think your blood isn't made up of fizzy water. I know it's only gas, but yeah, if you could only drink fizzy water and you can get 3 litres in, I think you'd be a bit bloated off that. So I would just aim for the plain water. But whoever they are, do say that you can have fizzy water to contribute to your water intake. So take that as you will. So yeah, all fluid does count. It does, your body will utilise it. But the best thing that you can do is think about going straight to the source of what's the best. And I think just plain still water. I don't think having you can get the Volvic flavoured waters, even the sugar-free ones, a lot of like added chemicals and stuff. Again, I'd just be super wary. And also they're not very good for the planet, are they, with the plastic bottles? So yeah, just be aware of that. Okay, so we've covered, and I know you're probably thinking, and that's not very black and white advice, but that's a good thing, okay? Nothing's ever really black and white. It's always a bit grey. Is that you're going to get fluid from your food. They reckon about 1 litre, and that's if you're eating a lot of fruit and veg. 2 litres from fluids. You can mix this fluids up, but I personally just think go for it on the water. Talking about caffeine then, one of the most common mistakes that I think people make in their morning routine is they have caffeine before water. So I have a little saying that I say to my clients, which is hydrate before you caffeinate. So always recommend having a pint of water before your first caffeinated drink of the day. So let's talk about, we know what water we're getting in and what contributes to it. But if you're sitting here thinking, how do I get it in? I really struggle with getting it in. The first thing I would recommend is set an alarm on your phone if you are massively struggling, and this has worked time and time again with my clients, okay? Is I tell my clients, okay, you're going to set 3 reminders on your phone. You're going to set 1 at 10 a.m. You're going to set 1 at 1 p.m. You're going to set 1 at 5 p.m. Each of them reminders are going to say 1 litre, 1 litre, 1 litre. So that means you have, from, let's say you get up at 7 a.m., 7 a.m. till 10 a.m., you drink 1 litre. 10 a.m. till 1 p.m, you drink 1 litre. 1 p.m. till 5 p.m, you drink 1 litre, and then you sip after. Because the worst thing that we're doing is getting to 8 p.m. at night and realising, shit, I've only done 1 litre all day. Let me go and down 2 litres of water. Because what is that going to lead to? That is going to lead you to go pee-pee in the middle of the night and break your sleep, which we know we don't want to do. So by setting the reminders, they don't have to be 10, 1 and 5. They might be 9, 2 and 4. Whatever's going to work for you, try and just break them up in the day. I wouldn't recommend setting an alarm at 7 or 8 at night, again, because if you haven't done that litre and you're chugging it down, you're going to wake up and go pee-pee. I think these water bottles are quite helpful, the ones I've got, where they say like 7 a.m, 8 a.m, 9 a.m, and then they tell you to like refill at 12, and they're like 1 litre. I think they're quite helpful to have as well. But yeah, really simple. You could just get a little reminder on your phone to set it up and do that. Another little saying, because I love a saying, don't I? So we've done hydrate before you caffeinate. We've got your little reminders in your phone. Is in sight, in mind, out of sight, out of mind. So you can see, I've just shown you in my office, I have got my Brita, I have got my 1 litre juice bottle and I have my glass right next to me. So what am I triggering myself to do all the time? I'm triggering myself to drink. It's literally in my eye lines. You will never find me out and about without water. You will never find me in a restaurant just with a wine or a Diet Coke. There's always water. God, going on a plane with me is jokes. Like when we went to Lanzarote in January, I took 5 litres of water on the plane with me and I drank them all because that's a whole other episode. But yeah, we get so dehydrated on planes. It's insane. Like we lose, I can't remember, like a mad amount of water every hour when in the sky. So yeah, hydration on planes. So yeah, for me, out of sight, out of mind. So if you are not sitting with a water bottle in front of you or taking it out to do the shop or taking it out to take the kids to school, you're not going to remember to drink because we have 1,000 other things that we need to think of. So let's just make sure that we are getting a nice water bottle, and don't get a shit one. Get a nice one that you want to drink out of, because otherwise you won't be arsed. So get a nice one. If you were at the office, at home, or even in work, I would so recommend getting a Brita, because here's the thing: if we just get a glass of water and we're like, oh, look at me doing my water, and then it's emptied, and then you're on back-to-back meetings, we're losing the momentum. Whereas if we have the Brita and we know it's got 2 litres in and we're topping it up, it's a game changer. I'm telling you, insight in mind is probably one of the best pieces of advice to help get your hydration up. Don't go anywhere without a bottle of water, and not a little shitty plastic one. Get a refillable that you can get a good litre in it. So yeah, that's that one. Okay, so we've covered having a pint of water in the morning. That is like a game changer, because as I said, like for me, it helps. Remember what your body does when it's asleep. Your body goes through like its own detoxifying process. So by topping it up with a pint of water in the morning, you are helping get your water intake in, kickstart your metabolism, get your cognitive brain function going, helping your digestive system, and topping your body up, because we know that the strongest way is in the morning, and we're putting that water in. So you've already got a pint in. Then we've got our reminders throughout the day. But then the caveat that we have is the first time people do this, so I can't end this podcast. This is my last point, but I can't end this podcast without bringing this up. When you drink more, if you've only been living off a litre of water, okay, or no water and Diet Coke, when you start drinking a litre of water, you're going to pee more. Like, think about it. It's logic, okay? So if we're going to pee more, like, we need to understand that we're not going to pee more all the time. We're peeing more because your body isn't used to that amount of water, but it will get used to it. Like everything, your body is clever and it will adjust, okay? A little point actually, because you might be thinking, well, why has my body not got used to dehydration? So dehydration is the only thing that your body will never get used to, because we need water to live. Think about it in really deep terms. What do we die of first? What do we die first of dehydration or of hunger? It's dehydration. This is how water is more important than food, okay, to keep us alive. We can keep alive a lot longer with water than we can without food. Does that make sense? Okay, so don't know why I just felt the need to bring that up, but let's send it home. Water's important. So your body has like an internal water filter system. Okay, so if you have been living off 1 litre of water and you're like, yeah, but I feel fine, but you still want to lose fat, and actually I know that you're going to feel better if you do this, your body will have this internal water filter system, and once you start doing more than it's used to, it will start being like, whoa, this is a lot of water, let's go for a wee. We're not used to this, okay? If you keep this up for around 2 to 3 weeks, all of a sudden you will notice, I'm not peeing as much, I'm not going to the toilet as much, I feel better, I'm sleeping better, I'm bloated less. It's that 2 to 3 week mark of being consistent, of putting up with the hassle of having to go for a wee a lot, that you will go, oh, this is working now, because your body will regulate, okay, we're now used to this amount of water. So that is a real big take home point, that if you say, I've tried to drink water before, but all it did was make me go for a wee, and then you gave up, it's because you didn't give it enough time. You need to give it time. Like every healthy habit we try and, get better at, we need to give it time. So that is the end of our podcast. I will say one last thing. Sorry, that I was meant to touch on. Don't down water an hour before you go to bed, because you will piss in the night. Okay. That's why I always say do your 3 markers quite early on, and then from like 5 or 6, just sip water so you can get all your wheeze out. Okay, that is my last point, I promise. Okay, guys, I have rambled on about water for 35 minutes on my own, talking to no one. So we know that this is a good episode, okay? We know that we are made up of 55 to 60% water. We know that hydration and water does so much for our body rather than just, I'm thirsty. It's looking after every organ, our brains, it's helping with our fat loss, our energy levels, our digestive system. It's helping with everything, and it's really important if you want to be better, be healthier, be happier, lose more weight, that you get your 3 liters of water in. Okay, so as always, I hope you found this really helpful. I would love to hear off you over on my Instagram @_em.powered. Share this on your socials. Share it with someone that maybe needs to hear this. And I will see you next time. Guys, just a quick one before we go. Big news coming next week on the podcast, which I'm super, super excited to share. So keep your eyes peeled for that. It is going to be a good one. All right, I'm going to love you and leave you. Thank you always for listening, tuning in, and just being you. Have a great day. Love you. Bye.